Ooh. Homemade peanut butter chocolate hearts for the person you love. Want to learn how to make these? Keep watching. It's April, and thanks for stopping by my channel, My Crazy Creative Life. If you are new here, welcome, and I hope you want to become a part of this crazy family. If you are a returning viewer or a subscriber, thank you very much. I'm so glad to have you back. If you are a returning viewer that hasn't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe and hit that little button for me. That would really help me out a whole lot. So today we are continuing this series of 14 Days of Valentines. Today is number 6 in this series, and I have decided to do something just really quick. This time it's not anything that we have to bake or even heat up the stove necessarily. We are going to make peanut butter, almost like a peanut butter cup. It's going to be peanut butter chocolate hearts. So here we go. All right, for the ingredients, you're going to need some Jif peanut butter. In my opinion, for candy making, there's nothing better than Jif peanut butter. So we've got our Jif. It's going to be half a cup of Jif. And then we're going to do a fourth a cup, which would be a half a stick of salted butter, softened. So we'll get this. You can either soften it by leaving it out on the counter about 20-30 minutes, or you could put it in your microwave. Do about 5-second intervals and turn it until it gets soft, but you don't want it extremely soft, but you do want it soft. We're going to use a teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to use a fourth teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. We are going to use 1 cup of powdered sugar. And then for the chocolate, I had these already on hand. These are the dark chocolate wafers from Ghirardelli. I got them at Walmart, I don't know, probably before Christmas. I haven't tried these as far as making a candy to see what it's like. Typically, when I make candy, I use semi-sweet chocolate chips. I melt them down with some of the Gulf wax. Probably it's 1 bag to about 1/4 of a block of Gulf wax, because that seems to, well, it helps thin it for the dipping process, but also whenever it sits out on the counter, it doesn't melt real fast. But we are going to try these and see what that's like. But you could try these dark Ghirardelli chocolate flavored wafers. You can try the chocolate chips like I just explained, or the chocolate almond bark. And I'm going to start off with a half a bag, because I don't know exactly how much chocolate it's going to take for my mold. And then there's the mold. I just got this at Walmart the night before last, and it was, I think, $4.95 or something like that. So it's under $5. All right, let's get started. Okay, my phone just went off by itself. I don't really know what happened. So far I've got the half a cup of peanut butter in here and the 4th cup of softened butter, or half a stick of softened butter. So what I'm going to do next is just kind of blend it, kind of beat it together first before I put the rest of the ingredients in. Okay, that looks pretty good and blended. So I'm going to add the 4th cup of salt, teaspoon of vanilla, slowly add the powdered sugar in. Okay, it should look after, because when you were mixing it with the mixer, it looked all crumbly, but when you get your spoon back and start kind of pressing it together, it's just going to be in a really thick ball. Almost looks like a dough ball. And you want it that thick. The next step is to melt the chocolate. So just melt it per your, whatever you're using, just melt it per that instruction. While I'm melting my chocolate, you'll see here in a minute how I'll do this. We'll pour the chocolate in the mold, kind of make sure it gets on every crevice, and then you dump it real quick. And the only thing I could think of to dump it in without making a mess is my sheet, well, my cookie sheet, and with parchment paper over it, because you want to save the rest of the chocolate, because we'll have to cover it, of course, on the top. So I just want to tell you that while I'm melting the chocolate. Got my chocolate all good and melted. So I'm just going to pour it in each well. Okay, I am going to melt the rest of that chocolate. I finally, as you've probably seen, I just started using my finger to kind of come around all the crevices, the crooks and the crannies and all of that. Like I've said before, sometimes your best kitchen tool is your hands. So I'm going to melt some more of these wafers to be able, because they still look a little bit, I mean, some of them you can't really see. Some of them look fairly full. I mean, and the chocolate's already starting to harden. Some of them you can still see the silicone under it, and I don't think once we're completely done that will come out good if we don't add some more chocolate to that bottom layer. So I will do that and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Okay, this paintbrush is just for food, so don't think that I'm using. Okay, if you decide to do this, get you a little not toothbrush, a little paintbrush. That really did help. So I'll put these in the freezer, let them harden, and then we'll continue on. All right, we are back. Did not take these long to harden at all. And learning lesson for me, you can see there's a few of these that's going to be kind of messed up, but it's just for us, so it's okay. If you don't have a room to lay in your freezer, a flat space, just take some food out of your freezer and put it in there, because it does not take long for these to harden, so you're not going to ruin your food. I didn't do that, and it slid and this end bunched up, so I mean, it's just like I said for us, so it ain't no big deal. All right, next you want to take just a little bit of your peanut butter, and then you just want to kind of press it in there. Okay, I'll get these filled and we'll be right back. Okay, do not overfill these. I'm thinking when I said a tablespoon is probably a little bit too much, so probably more like a teaspoon and a half would fill them up better. Okay, I tried to zoom it in. So you can see they are a little messy. But I ended up having to take, because I had overfilled them, had to take, I guess I robbed Peter to pay Paul, so as the old saying goes. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to melt the rest of these chocolates, and then we'll cover the top and then put it back in the freezer and hopefully they'll turn out pretty. Here we go. I just hope I have enough chocolate left over. Man, 3 is all it was. It's all I had left. Let me see what I can find. Okay, I just got some semi-sweet chocolate chips and melted those down and to kind of finish this. Obviously, I didn't pre-plan this. Part of this 14-week challenge, I've kind of been challenging myself, just personally, not really telling you all, but personally just trying to challenge myself to use what I've got in just here at the house and not have to go buy stuff at the store. And so far I've done good. The only thing I've had to buy so far is this mold, and then I bought a bag of Valentine's M&Ms because I'm going to make some. Well, you'll just have to wait and see. You'll have to come back and see what I use those for. But anyway, so if you decide to make this, I would definitely, if you use the Ghirardelli chocolate wafers, just do yourself a favor and get 2 bags. That way you're not having to stress at the very end of this. Okay, back in the freezer we'll go. It'll probably take a little longer because the chocolate chips take longer to harden up than what the wafers do, so back in the freezer we'll go. All right, while those are in the freezer, harden up that last layer, let's talk about chocolate. If you don't, I tasted the piece of that Ghirardelli wafer when it kind of flaked off as I was putting the peanut butter in, and it actually isn't bad. So if you don't like almond bark, like I'm not a fan of almond bark, but if you don't like almond bark but you don't want to fool with the chocolate, then that's probably a happy compromise. The only thing I think is just a little bit more expensive. As far as chocolate, if I had got the chocolate and tempered the chocolate and had a lot of chocolate, that where you pour the chocolate in the mold and then flip it over real quick, that would have been a lot easier and smoother had I had a lot more chocolate. I did not have near enough, and that was the problem with that. Tempering chocolate is a whole nother beast. I mean, it's just a whole nother thing. You have to heat it up and at a certain degree, and then let it cool at a certain degree, and it's just a whole nother thing. Something I've watched, but I've never wanted to. I don't think I've ever wanted to try to do it, but it does give you, though, apparently the most crisp chocolate. You know, we all kind of want that crisp chocolate when we're biting into like a candy. Then, like I said, your other choice would be your semi-chocolate chips and some of the Gulf wax. Because that Gulf wax actually helps thin it down as it's melting, but then it helps it to harden up whenever, like I said earlier, it cools back off. But some people, it's not recommended, I guess, as a food by the Food and Drug Administration. So some people may not want to fool with that. To help thin your chocolate out, you can also, the semi-sweet chocolate chips, you can also do like some coconut oil or shortening that helps thin it out. The only thing about that, it does not harden back up unless it's directly straight from the refrigerator. I'm trying to think what else. And then of course, those wafer chips, they seem to harden and have a crisp pretty good. It's just not real chocolate. But we'll see what happens whenever I've got some with real chocolate on it mixed in with that. I don't know, it may be fine. We'll see after they come out of the freezer. So that's our chocolate talk. If you have any questions, then leave some in the comments below. And I will meet you back when I'm pulling the candy out of the freezer. Okay, I'm back. This is the moment of truth. I just took them out, which they're not very pretty and smooth on that side, but I just took them out. So let's see. Well, that's actually not bad. There's just a few places that looks where you can see a little bit of the peanut butter poking through, but that's really not bad. Some of these are really pretty, other than the backside. The backsides aren't too pretty. Let me move this back up. Let's see, like the backs aren't the prettiest, but that front, that's really pretty. And if you wanted to be a perfectionist, you could take a knife and go around the edge of that to kind of get some of that off. I don't care. To me, it's going to be 8. Okay, let me get you a closer view. Okay, I don't know if this view helped or not, but it's almost blurry. All right, here we go. This is my Christmas one because I don't know where my heart one went. It's here somewhere. But just a little say I love you just to someone special. Your significant other, your parents, your kids, that's pretty. But you could go at the Dollar Tree and get just a little, because they always have those little heart tins. But you could go buy one of those and fill it up with these little heart chocolates. And what a way to say, I love you. So my daughter and I are going to do a taste test. My daughter's still sick. She's still home, but hopefully tomorrow she'll get to go back to school. Okay, let's try to cut this where you can see it. Well, that had a pretty good crisp to it. Of course, it's still cold, but that had a pretty good crisp. Okay, so there's... And then here's the other half of the heart. But that kind of swished on me. Okay, here you go. I love you. Is it good? Okay. She's gonna give us a thumbs up. There we go. Okay, now it's my turn. I think half my chocolate fell out when I cut it. Okay. That is really good. Especially if you like peanut butter. So there you have it, folks. For the most part, it's fast. I didn't time it, so I don't know exactly how long it took me. It probably would have been quicker had I had more chocolate. That way I could have done the pour, swirl, flip over method, but I didn't have enough chocolate to do that. But I recommend also getting, like I said, a paintbrush, but just for food. That way it made it a lot easier trying to go up those edges. But there you have it. I like to store these. I love red trucks. But anyway, I like to store these in the fridge. I like for them to be cold, and it just seems like that makes the chocolate even more crispy. But we'll store these in the fridge, and they will not last long. But they should last a couple of weeks in your fridge, but for us, it's not gonna last that long. So thank you so much for coming by and watching day 6 of the 14 days of Valentine's. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. That would help me out so much. Give me a like, give me a big old thumbs up. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.